A hand pressed roughly on the back of Serena's neck, forcing her head lower. "His Majesty, Alpha King Darius," announced a voice. The marble floor beneath Serena's bare feet seemed to vibrate with each step he took as he moved closer. She kept her eyes fixed on the floor, but the air grew heavy, charged with power that pressed against Serena's skin like a physical touch. "The new arrivals, Your Majesty," said a male voice, tight with deference, "for your special guests' requirements." A long silence followed. Serena could hear the frightened breathing of the girls beside her, one of them trembling so violently that Serena could feel it through the floor. "They're all cowering," came a deep voice that resonated through Serena's very bones. It held neither cruelty nor compassion, just a weary disappointment, as though this was exactly what he'd expected. "How tiresome," the king added. Something in that voice, its casual power, its inherent command, made it impossible for Serena not to look. In all the books she'd secretly hoarded and read by candlelight, kings and princes were described with such grandeur. She'd always wondered if real royalty could possibly live up to the heroes of legend. Despite her fear, curiosity won out. Slowly, against every instinct for self-preservation, she raised her eyes. What she saw made every literary hero in her memory fade to pale imitation. Alpha King Darius wasn't merely handsome, he was sublime in a way that made her storyteller's mind scramble for comparisons. She found none to be adequate. Broader than her village's Alpha, with high cheekbones that could cut glass and lips that held a natural curve suggesting perpetual mockery, he was of a savage beauty that no artist could truly capture. But his eyes, gods. Something ancient and feral lived in those eyes. And suddenly those eyes snapped to hers. Serena jerked her gaze back to the floor, heart hammering against her ribs. "Your Majesty?" prompted the attendant. "Have you made your selection?" Serena felt rather than saw his attention still on her, a weight that pinned her in place. "She'll do," he said simply. She knew without looking that he was pointing at her, stood before the massive oak door, her heart pounding. The air felt colder here, as if winter clung to the stone. Torches flickered eerily, their flames bending away from the door like they were trying to escape. Next to her, the stern servant woman smirked, though her hands shook slightly. "Please the king's guest however he desires," she whispered. "Or tomorrow, you'll face something far worse." Her voice faltered on the word, guest. The guard at the door looked nervous too, his forehead slick with sweat despite the cold. When Serena caught his eye, he looked away quickly, hand tightening on his sword. From inside the room, a sound echoed, somewhere between a growl and a sigh, that seemed to resonate through the door. The guard's grip whitened. Then he pushed Serena into the room. But it was more than just a room. It was a vast suite. The air inside was thick with a mix of scents, spices, flowers, and something wilder, musk, blood, and the sharp tang of magic. A mirror caught Serena's eye, but when she turned to face it, her reflection wavered, as though reluctant to take shape. She swallowed hard. "Is anybody there?" she asked. Someone was watching. She felt it, an unseen gaze, heavy as a touch. In the shadows, something moved, just at the edge of sight. She took a step forward, then another, and suddenly saw a banquet spread out on a large table. Roasted meats, bowls of colorful fruits, and golden candelabras casting dim light that couldn't chase away the dark corners. Serena didn't dare touch anything. Instead, she moved toward the back of the room where thick velvet curtains hung. Pulling them back, she stopped cold at what she saw. A huge bed filled the space, absurdly wide and covered with silk sheets. The setup was clear now, the knowing looks from the servants, the uneasy guard, the lavish meal, and this gigantic bed. Good grief, she was to be used. She was expected to lie with this special guest, to offer her body to whoever the king hosted here. Her stomach lurched violently and she pressed a hand to her mouth. But then, A package resting atop the bed caught her eye. It caught her eye because on it is a card with her name scrawled in elegant script. With dread pooling in her gut, she unwrapped the parcel. A gown spilled into her hands, midnight dark and shimmering with gold thread. Beautiful, horrifyingly so, like a shroud made of stars. The air dropped to an icy chill, as though darkness itself was swallowing it whole. A sound echoed from behind, slow, deliberate footsteps, the scrape of claws on stone, joints popping, shifting, and a low, menacing groan, quickly stifled. Serena turned. The shadows thickened, a void swallowing light. "Put it on," she then heard. The voice, deep, inhuman, vibrated through her bones. It was language forced through a throat not meant for speech. Swallowing hard, she retreated behind a dressing screen, her fingers fumbling with the gown's fastenings. The fabric slithered over her skin like cool water. She found a necklace waiting, a collar of diamond stars. "Should I wear this too?" she whispered. Silence. Then closer now. Yes. Serena clasped it around her throat. The weight was suffocating. She stepped from behind the screen. The dining room seemed empty, but the presence remained. "Please eat." She hesitated before selecting a piece of bread, her fingers barely trembling. The rich flavors turned to ash in her mouth. Behind her, something moved. A shadow fell across the table. "Do you like the dress?" "Yes," she managed, voice barely above a whisper. "Stand." Her knees wobbled as she obeyed. The creature moved forward, revealing its hand. Except it wasn't a hand, but a massive, grotesque appendage with long fingers ending in sharp claws. "Turn around," the beast said. She did, slowly. Her gaze traveled upward and upward still. The sight was staggering. Before her stood a figure too massive, too distorted for this world. Its muzzle bristled with jagged teeth, its body twisted by agony and fury. Serena's lips parted, a scream building within her, but instead of a cry, what slipped out was, "Were you cursed?" The beast recoiled as if struck. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "That was presumptuous." "No." The voice was quieter now, almost resigned. "How did you know?" She hesitated. "I've read many stories about curses. One about a royal twisted into brambles by a jealous witch and—" She stopped herself. "I'm rambling." "No." The beast's gaze locked onto hers. "Go on." So she did. One tale, then another, speaking of monsters and spells, of humanity hidden beneath horror.